President and CEO of Nuvarish Corporation. You know what, you probably got the DVD and you popped it into your player, checking out those menu options, saw, message from the president, thought you're going to get some smart, good-looking rich guy in an Armani suit.
Getting the word out about Nuvarish University was critical. I mean, after all, think about it this way. What good's the cure for cancer if nobody knows about it?
I lost everything. I lost my best friend. I lost my car. I lost my driving privileges. I lost money. I lost self-respect, self-esteem. Any self-worth I ever had was gone. Just in a matter of seconds, everything totally and completely gone. And I had to make a choice of whether this is how I want to live my life anymore. If I wanted to go out and drink and party, these are my consequences.
Okay, we stay together as we go through the process. Here we go. This is what we store and house these loved ones that have already been processed or pending their examination. As you see, the bodies are wrapped in a dignified way to protect their identity. We try to give these individuals the utmost respect as though they were one of our own. I will not give you his name or where he's from, but he's a 22-year-old male Hispanic. He was pronounced last night at 20:45 hours. He was last known operating a motorcycle versus a fixed object. He estimated that he may have been traveling at a high rate of speed prior to impact, but it was obvious that he was out of control when his motorcycle ran into a tree. That these people are also required to give back to that presiding judge a 1,000-word essay, again expressing them in detail of each step that they have gone through the program and how it's affected them.
This whole day was very frightening. It was hard to handle. I have lost a friend at 17 to drunk driving, and knowing what he goes through after he had died here was really terrible to know.
These walls hide a shocking story of suffering and pain. A nightmare created by Romania's infamous dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. This is an orphanage in Romania near the city of Iași. Ceausescu wanted to expand the population of his country, so he outlawed birth control, and couples were penalized for not having large families. But in Ceausescu's grim world, there was no room for a child like this. These children he classified as deficient and unsalvageable. They include children that were emotionally or physically disabled. In Romania today, there is estimated to be at least 40,000 children living in these human warehouses.
She's very frightened. She's very
In the midst of this continuing tragedy, Barbara and Jim Bascom are spearheading World Vision's efforts to save hundreds of these discarded children.
I think these children are obviously in absolute desperate need. It's an emergency. Every day that goes by without intervention, without additional services, only worsens the circumstance. These children are more like caged animals than they are people.
Change is coming slowly to Romania. Children are still being sent to homes for the unsalvageable because, quite simply, there is no place else for them to go.
Children in many of the institutions for the unsalvageable are not dressed every day. There are no tables for them to sit at for meals. There are no toilet facilities indoors in many of these institutions. A lot of these children are lying in their cribs, and no one even has time to walk into the room. children can be fed adequately and clothed, and if they're not touched, if they're not cuddled, if they're not emotionally nurtured, they simply won't survive. It's critical within the next few months that we have adequate funding to keep this program going. Without the support of this kind of a program, many of these children will die, and the children who are treatable or curable will simply be lost.
I don't know how to even put it in just a few words, but thinking about my dad, I think of him as a humble leader. I think those are two words that I would certainly define him as. Leader in the community, leader in business, leader in our home. And he does it all with great humility. He hasn't forgotten where he came from, which I think can very easily happen when you become successful. But he knows where he came from, and that's just been an amazing example to me. So a humble leader, and the other thing he always puts in the forefront is God. And to give that to your kids, to leave that legacy of a man who loves the Lord is huge. For my mom, I would think of she's a nurturer. She's a confidant. She's wise. And as I get older, I go to her even more often just for bits of wisdom. And I see both my parents, and especially my mom with other young women, just giving such amazing, just wise counsel to them. And I feel fortunate to be her daughter and be able to get that counsel whenever I need it.
But in today's world where so many of the problems, so many of the reasons that people have to reach out and be charitably active is because families are falling apart or have fallen apart. And so every time you can look at a family like Terry and Sharon and realize that they don't just care about those kids, they're caring about that next generation. They're great believers that the greatest gift that any couple can give to their children is a strong marriage. If you're going to have children and you're going to care for them, then model for them that loving and caring for each other. It's just a high priority.
If we choose, we can create an interstate highway system of the future far better than in the past, harnessing advanced technology, opening new corridors to trade and economic development, saving lives through safer cars and safer highways.